competition and encouraging competition can actually help to drive down the costs. So some sort of a public-private partnership and merger of those issues. One of the good ideas that came out is even when NGOs apply for funding, like from USAID, you give them incentives to compete and you drive the competition up and you really put out, and I think the whole issue of carrot and sticks played out throughout the different themes we have, but you try to have them innovate, come up with better ideas, and they're the ones who get the funding. The other issue was type of assistive technology that gets covered in policy. If government has to make policy surrounding assistive technology and then the policy driving funding, they tend to draw up lists. Okay, let's talk about medical equipment or durable medical equipment. And then you run into barriers of what different kinds of AT can come on those lists. So that was one of the things we were kind of battling with. How do you, if somebody has to draw up an entire category, how do you draw that category up? I don't think we really came up with a solution for that, but an issue to consider. The other idea was the starting point should always be have a national policy on disability that clearly includes assistive technology, and we can start from now that we have the convention as a framework to start with, as well as a country's constitution, especially if it clearly mentions equal opportunities and equality among all players. Then try and put down appropriate budgets to support that policy. I think everywhere the issue of evaluation and monitoring came up, so it's not really helpful just having a policy, but you really need to build in evaluation and monitoring, and it could be a third party like a university or research institute that does the monitoring or evaluation, or as the convention has it, have shadow reports by civil society, but you need to have that monitoring and evaluation. One of the issues that was mentioned was that policymakers may not always know how to differentiate between different types of AD. They might prefer to go with the low-cost option of getting it from Taiwan instead of looking at really the wheelchair that matches the needs of their citizens. And lastly, we had to think about how how international cooperation and development agencies can incentivize countries who they donate to, countries they give loans to, as well as NGOs to actually mainstream disability in their programs. So for example, USAID has guidelines on disability, and how do you make sure that those get enforced? That's something other development agencies can look at. What if you, again, the whole issue of carrots and sticks, if there's an idea of forming a global groups, it's similar to the G20, which essentially you have countries that meet certain standards that can form a group that can be, that are eligible to be at this high level group, and then of course you need to think about what's their incentive to join, and whether they will do it just out of, this is a good thing to do, and this is where we want to be at as a country level, but that's an idea. And finally, one of the things was working through UN agencies like the WHO, and when the WHO is coming out with guidelines on health devices, how can we push AT into it? There is currently an effort to do that. But finally, the last thing, there are again issues with doing that through UN agencies or doing that through other governments. It's the whole issue of coordination and collaboration always doesn't happen. Different agencies don't talk to each other, different governments don't talk to each other, so another potential barrier. That's kind of our thinking. Anything I missed from the group? Okay.
All right, we'll wrap it up. Thanks for everybody who stuck around all day. I think we have about half of us still here. As Joyji said, we're going to have a group list, and so we'll keep everybody informed. We're going to post the videos and hopefully have transcripts with those videos. And I think we're always open for feedback about where to go next. If it's thinking beyond just planning the next workshop, but really trying to continue this dialogue and what other what other infrastructure can be built to keep these kind of conversations going and coming up with some pretty clear recommendations.
Another point is that we also had a request or a discussion with the Journal of Information Technology and Development, which is doing with us a special issue on technology and disability in the developing world. So I have sent out the email to most people, but if I haven't, then please remind us, we'll send it back to you. And this is a good opportunity, I think, for us to both think about publishing, but also to get momentum in this space and get more people thinking and talking about this work. So thanks everybody, especially I'd like to thank our interpreters as well as the tireless captioning which we've had. And hopefully we'll meet again soon sometime. All right, thanks.